your earliest memories of your childhood?
Well, I can remember getting my tonsils taken out. I can remember the first movie I saw was uh, Al Jolson with singing Sunny Boy.
Climb up on my
So that was, I think that was one of the first talking movies.
What other movies did you see when you were a kid?
Well, we went to movies every week. It cost, I think, 8 cents to go to the movies. Mom would take us in. He'd give us a lunch, and we'd sit down on the floor in the front of the screen in the movie house, in front of all the seats, and we'd be looking up at it. I remember kids when the stagecoaches would be getting on fire by Indians hitting them with flaming arrows. They would be blowing on the screen to blow the fires out. And we saw Tarzan, and they were very popular movies. And we had Hopalong Cassidy, and a lot of serials. Flash Gordon.
Did you say you saw King Kong? Was it King Kong or was it?
We had an RKO Theater downtown in Albany, New York. And so Mom and Dad and I and Mickey went down to see King Kong. And we were sitting there, and Mom thought it was too violent, so she dragged me and Mickey out of the theater, and it was too violent for me. I was mad. But that movie theater also had a big Wurlitzer organ. It was a very good, enjoyable organ to go to. Beautiful theater. And King Kong was very popular. But it was scary. It's still scary.
Do you consider your childhood happy? Why or why not?
I had a beautiful childhood. I had my grandparents and her children fussed a lot over me. And then when I was in Pittsburgh, we played a lot of games in the street. We played Huckety Buck. How many fingers up?
What were you like as a child?
I was skinny, sick a lot, and weak. Not strong, but I did run a lot, and but overall I enjoyed my childhood. We played a lot in the street. We played basketball in the street. We go over to a schoolyard and play softball in the schoolyard a lot. And when I got about 12 years old, we played football, tackle football on the hillside. And the hillside would be, we'd play it at night, and the hillside would be lit up by the Bessemer converter, a blast furnace that put out a big flame. And we could see very well to play football under those conditions. So that was the steelworks were down in the valley, and we were on a hillside beside the steelworks.
I'll be doggone.
It was very, very exciting.
Describe the home and neighborhood in which you grew up.
My home was there's two houses. One was what we call the big house. It had 3 bedrooms upstairs, and so that was really a small house, but we called it a big house. The other house was the house next door, and it used to be a grocery store. They converted it to a three-room house, a living room, kitchen, and bedroom. And after we came back from Albany, we moved into that house, and we made 2 bedrooms in the back instead of by cutting them in half, the big bedroom in half. And so we lived there pretty much. It was a tight squeeze.
All right. Describe your family's economic conditions and the other factors that affected your lifestyle.
Well, I was born just before the Depression hit. And the Depression was very severe. My dad was working in a Westinghouse, grinding. He lost his job grinding. And a guy by the name of Berilla, who sold Watkins products door to door, he came to our house, and he encouraged my dad to take a job with selling Watkins products, so he did. My dad sold Watkins products in a place called Rankin, which is a few miles from our house. And he did so very good, and of course he hit the jackpot with $2,500. And as a result of that, he was encouraged to open up a store in Albany, New York. And so about 1932, we moved to Albany. And there I saw President Roosevelt when he was still governor. He was driving by our house, because we only lived about 3 blocks away from the Albany Capitol.
Do you remember your house in Albany?
Yes, it was an apartment house. It was on a 2nd floor walk up, and Mickey and I would play in that house. We would take and lay down chairs on their side and drape newspaper over top, and we'd make a tunnel from one room to the other, and we had a lot of fun doing that. So that was where we played. And then in the wintertime, of course, we went out on the sidewalk and dug a tunnel all the way through. So we lived there for about 2 or 3 years. So my dad lost his job and Mickey was killed.
How about Annette and Uncle David? I guess you were older when they were born then?
Yeah. Well, after we moved from New York, Mickey was dead, killed, and we had Annette in 1936 or 37, and Mickey came along a couple of years later. I was 10 years older than they, so I didn't play with them like a kid would. So I was always their older brother. I remember taking him around on a stroller.
Oh.
So I pushed him in a stroller a lot, up and down the sidewalk, North Braddock.
Yeah. And then you were a teenager when they were like 4 years, 5 years, 6 years
Yeah,
old. You were a teenager out then.
I was their big brother. So I took care of them as babies. And by the time they grew up any amount, I wound up in the Army.
Yeah.